Everyone, it's Jean from Ink Owl Studio. I'm here with a short tutorial on a really easy little fun project that would be perfect for gift giving, for stocking stuffers, or even for your own personal use for Happy Mail. It's a little pocket-sized notebook made out of a paper bag. You could call it a journal for sure, but some people may not be into journaling, and so you can tell them it's a little notebook. And it's just for making notes and that type of stuff. This is just a prototype that I just threw together. I'm going to make one with a little bit more inside than this one has. But this is kind of basically the gist of what we're going to be working on today. So maybe you're thinking about, things you can start for Christmas because it's really around the corner, even though this is July. Here are some things you're going to be needing. You will need your scrapbook paper, of course, at least, I would say at least a couple of designs. I would recommend getting weighted scrapbook paper that has a good weight to it. Usually your double-sided paper is that way. I would not use the thin paper for this. And any kind of ephemera that you want to decorate with. This comes from Ephemera's Vintage Garden, her from her Patreon followers. And then you're going to need about 25 inches of a ribbon or piece of muslin or something of that nature that you're going to use to close up your journal with. You'll need a piece of fabric. Well, okay, this is optional, but I recommend it because I think it really reinforces the seam. But it is optional. It's something that's like 5 by 1/2 inch section, about like that. And it can come from an old sheet or shirt or any kind of a cotton cloth. And then you'll need the either a pearl cotton, and that's kind of what this is here. And this is a number 8, this is 10 grams, but you can, any kind of size is fine. I mean, I'm not an embroiderer, but I do like using this for sometimes for my journals. Or actually floss would be fine too. Any kind of embroidery floss. And as long as, if all strands don't fit inside your needle, then at least use at least 3 strands to thread your needle with. And in a pinch, you can use baby yarn. As long as you have a craft needle that the eye will take it. So your needle needs to be sharp and have a pretty good looking eye in it so that you can put something thick through it. And the longer, I wouldn't go too much shorter than about 2 inches, 1.5 inches, because you're going to be like working through several pages. So 2 inches is really a nice length for that type of needle. And then, of course, you're going to need your bag. And this is just a lunch bag from Walmart. It's their small bag. It's not the large one. And some glue. And I have glitter glue in this bottle. So that's basically what you're going to be needing for this. So let's get started with the folds. So the first fold is going to be left of where this factory fold is, which is when you get the bag, it's like that. So you want to go about 1/4 of an inch to the left of this seam right here. And this is so that we can have a tuck spot and be able to get things in and out. So I just kind of feel with my fingers approximately where that's at. Now it doesn't have to be exact, but sometimes you can tell. You can look at the factory fold and your new fold, and you can kind of see how far it's gone. But about like that. And then this flap, or this section, just goes over here until you have a 3-way fold. So there you go. So that is basically the size of your little journal is going to be. Now you're going to need to cut your scrapbook paper or design paper, and I started out with 3.5 by 5 inches. Now, not every section is going to be the same because as you can see, it's a little bit wider here, it's a little bit more narrow here. So I cut it out, I kind of cut the first ones out to fit inside this part here, and then the other ones I kind of like measured and shaved them off, the way they needed to be. So you may want to measure those for yourself, but for this one, that's what I started out for with this one. It also will depend on what kind of a border you want around. Do you want to have, that wide of a border? Do you want a really narrow border all the way around? A lot of it depends on how much bag do you want showing, all the way around. Okay, you're going to be cutting 6 sections. And so you have 3 here, you're going to have 3 here. Now I'm going to glue these on, just glue on this and this and this and these 2, and leave this one empty. So I'll be right back with them glued. Alrighty, I have the papers all glued in here, and now this back section, I left it blank because we have to put in the tie. And the tie gets glued right in this section. Now it's important that you glue it with a long strip on the right rather than on the left. And you can test that out by folding up your journal like so, and then you know that you can do the tie around. If you were to glue it in this way, which is not the way to do it, then you flip over, it's all inside there. So make sure that you are facing out. All I can say on that. I can't tell you how many times I made that mistake. So we'll just glue that in there first, and I try to put in a pretty good section that's glued down inside here. I'll go ahead and use this side like so. Okay. It's just as easy as that. Okay. Alrighty then. I'm going to, also now you're going to want to make this into a tuck spot. And to do that, you're going to be gluing right along here, like so, on both sides. And gluing it down there. So now you've got a little tuck spot here to put something in. You can put, like put receipts or put a little journaling card or whatever you want can just go tuck inside there now. Now for the pockets, there's different ideas that you can use, but here's 2 that I'm going to be using, and that is just, cutting a piece the same size but shorter to put here in the middle, and then kind of putting a pocket off here to the side so that you can slip something inside that area. For my pockets, I like to use a hole punch to make a little thumb notch. Not necessary, of course, but just line it up and cover like half your hole, your circle. And it just, I think, kind of makes it kind of cute. Not 100% necessary, of course. And we will glue in the sides and put that in there. So these really go fast, especially if you make 2 or 3 at a time. You have like a little assembly line type of thing. And I'll just come down further with that to cover up the fact that I cut it too short. And then there's the pocket there. And I think I will put another thumb notch inside this one, like so. And just glue this little guy in. Okay. That looks great. So now we got our little pockets in. And essentially, we are finished with it, except for the pages. And if, of course, you may want to start picking out your little tags or whatever you plan to be putting in the pockets. This section here is up to you. This is kind of neat because you got like a divider between two different things, but it may feel cumbersome, like every time you put something in, you got to fight with it. So what you can do is you can just glue down one section. And it's really no big deal. Just put a little spot glue on there, like so, and put a little spot of glue over here on this one. Make sure you put them on mirrored or matching sides so that you don't have it, glued this way and that way. And that will take care of that section in there if you would like. Okay, and it just would open up, a little bit better. Of course, it's got to dry. Oh, and then, yes, of course, I just remembered you got to also glue down this side in here too. And like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect, just so that you get the edges, to make sure that the edges are glued down, and just smear it there in the middle. There we go. Okay, there. So we have glued it in such a way that now you've got like an open pocket that's pretty easy access in there. Okay, let us work with the pages now. The pages are 6.5 by 4 3/4. That's what it ended up being for mine. Now the thing about the pages is that you want to make sure, here's one page, you want to make sure that it is well within the creases, and probably a good 1/4 of an inch within the creases there, because when you have all that bulk and you fold it over, it starts getting closer and closer to the fold. And so you kind of want an easy fold like this. So I would make sure that you allow about that much there. So now that you got your pages, we're going to put them in the crease, but we're going to make sure that we take these little clips, and you can use paper clips, you can use clothespins, anything that will clip it in for you so that your paper is not moving around a lot. Make sure I got everything right side up. Oh, that would be great, huh? Yeah, that would be wonderful. There we go. Everything is right side up. Good. Now I'll get my thread, and now I measure my thread out about 3 times the length of what I'm sewing in. And we will thread our needle. Got glue in my hand, my fingers. Okay. So the first, now if you're sewing in the machine, of course you're just going to sew it on down, which is really how I like to make mine. But if you don't have a sewing machine, I do want to show you how to do it by hand, and it's not at all hard. Just eye up the middle. You can measure if you want, but I just eye it up. And I poke in my hole, Now it may take a little bit. You may have to press on the table to get your needle through, but it's not too bad. Bring your needle through, and then don't want this to slip through, so I just kind of put it underneath one of these little clips so that my tail will remain there. Okay, and then you're going to come back in this way about 3/4 of an inch down from the top. And I take my 2 fingers and I kind of straddle that seam right there. Don't want to poke myself. And then I just go on in. Like so. There. So you're in like that. Pull it snug. Come on down and do the same thing at this bottom, about 3/4 of an inch down. And I am going to let the table do some pressing for me. Oh, arthritis in my fingers is kind of hard for me. So there we are, and pull it nice and snug. Now for the last one, we're going to come right up that hole that we already went down, we made the first time, and bring it back out. Now what I like to do is I like to catch this thread here between the tail and what's on my needle. So I sometimes usually have to come under here so that this thread here is straddled between these 2 threads. And then snug it up and then give it a tie. Now the thing about giving a gift and they see it tied inside, the signature's tied in, can be kind of impressive because it tells them that yes indeed this was handmade with love and care, right? So there's some advantages to tying it in rather than just doing the sewing machine. I think too the sewing machine can sometimes got to be careful to make it even, or it can look a little uneven, such a small section like that. Here we go, it's all sewed in, and we'll just take off our little clips. And there you go with the papers. Now you can use all lined paper, you know, just one kind of paper. You don't have to make it look like a junk journal if you don't want to. But there you go, and you just flip over like so, and you're finished. Now, unless you've chosen to put on some cloth on the spine. And so if you're going to do that, then we'll just put some glue right along the edge here. So like I say, this is optional. It's just, I just like to think that it makes it a little bit more stable, especially when you're putting it in and out of your purse, your pocket, whatever. So let's put some of that there, like so. And we'll come the rest of the way down here. Actually, an inch probably would have done it. This was 1.5 inches, so it might be just a little bit more fabric than needed to be. Just depended. There we go. So now that is completed there. And now you can just, you know, put in whatever little pieces that you want to tuck in around here and there, and you are done. So yeah, this would go pretty fast, especially if you're doing 2 or 3 at a time. I think you could really get done quickly that way. So there you go. Thank you so much for viewing. I really appreciate it. I so appreciate your comments. You're such lovely people. I am just so encouraged by it. And I do read every single one, and I try to reply to as many as I can. So thank you so much for doing that. And I hope you, if you're a new first time viewer, I hope you'll subscribe and see what else I got going here. So thanks a lot. Talk to you later. Bye.